So we're grateful to have everybody here tonight. And with us coming up on, somebody mentioned something in our check-ins, and it's about expectations during this time, during the holiday season. So when you guys, when people go away to prison, often what happens is, as I've said to you guys on multiple occasions, the legend of who you are tends to grow. If you were the good dude, or you was the one earning the money, when you come back, they want you to be that person making that money. Oh my goodness. Thank heavens Terrell is home, because now we gonna make some money again. Now Terrell been gone 25 years, and what money they was making while Terrell was gone, we don't know. But they glad to see Terrell back, because now we can make some more money. Okay, as if they needed him to survive all those years. Terrell, you the one always say you was waiting on me, and what you waiting on me for? That's one of his favorite lines. What you waiting on me for? So, but when you also, if you were the worst person, if you were the bad person, then you still, that monster grew as well. But your family members have expectations as well. So oftentimes family members want you to be one of two things, either nothing like you were, or exactly like you were as well. And what happens during this time of the holidays, where people come home to children or relatives, and people begin to expect you to function in a particular way, and you may not even yet be ready to have that many people around, or be ready yet to be exposed to that many people. You may not be ready financially to contribute to the gift giving and all of those things that you wanted to do, or that people would want for you to do right now. You wind up in a situation where you're fighting other people's expectations of what you should be doing with your life right now. And the key to it is to make sure that you are doing that which you know you're capable of doing right now, and not putting pressure on yourself to live up to other people's expectations. Okay? Because it's hard. First of all, again, the person that went into prison is not the person that came out. You don't have the ability to live up to everybody's expectations. You're in a situation where just trying to reacclimate into society is enough pressure just by itself. Most people that I talk to who are while they're incarcerated, they're constantly thinking about what they want to do when they get out, right? What is it that I want to accomplish? I call it daring to dream a dream. They dare to dream a dream when they're in prison. But when you come out, there are so many things. You first got to find a place to live. You got to find employment. Maybe you got to get your ID and all of those things that would even allow you to be in a position to do anything first. Okay, there's pressure there. You may be living in a halfway house and you feel like, I only got 6 months. I got to get this worked out before this next 6 months is up. Okay, all of these are pressures. Simply, as fast as everything is moving, things move at an extremely fast pace in comparison to being in prison. So now you're trying to keep up with all those things. And another thing that happens is there are lots of distractions out here. Lots of, oh, Miss L talking. What she say? What did she say? What she say? Shut up. Yeah, it's distractions. Yes.
I'm sorry. We on
Missy,
mute.
no, honey, we love the baby. So there are lots and lots of distractions. Even if you want to focus on things, you got family members pulling and tugging at you, you got friends pulling and tugging at you, you got your constraints of wanting to get employment tugging at you, you got a PO tugging at you, you got all these different elements. Mr. Steffens is in school. He's got school coming at him. Things that people are trying to do. There's always something that when you're in prison, those distractions may not be there, and it allows you to focus more intently on what your dreams and your goals and your hopes are. But then when you hit the bricks, when you hit the street, now it's something different, right? Now you got to manage all of those competing interests. It's all competing for your time, all of it. It's all competing, and everything wants to be done in the same period of time. So, Mr. Terrell, I'd like for you, if you can talk to the people about how you have managed all those expectations.
Well, I manage the expectations basically just from experience. This is my second time being in society, and what I know now that's different from the last time is all them people that was waiting on me, they bad. Uh, and whatever the expectations is of me, that's they bad too. Because the time I was gone, they should have been getting some stuff together, and if they wanted me to be running with them or dealing with them, they should have had something set up for me to come home to. So basically, you have to understand that when people been out here, however long they've been out here, as we know, and they ain't moving right or they ain't got their stuff together, that is a real message to you that that should not be somebody that you settling in with, trying to get your reentry situation together, because they don't have theirs together, and they've been out here all this time. So how do you really think they're gonna help you get yours together if they ain't got theirs together? So I move and I surround myself around people like Maureen and other people in the community that I knew prior to going to jail that have the interests of the community and the best interests of the community and the people in it. And that's how I do my thing. I mean, I strive hard. I don't put no pressure on myself to perform a certain way, because when I move, and that's how I move. Don't let nobody alter your movement or dictate your movement or speed your movement up. Move at your own pace, and you just follow the guidance of the creator. You're going to be all right. Because all these people out here that's not been in jail, and you look like you passing them up, you really are passing them up, because they've been out here swimming in the mud and wallow and stuck in a prison in their mind, while you got out, had your mind right, and moving on from the prison that you were stuck in. So now that you come home, you got your mind focused and you getting the tools that you need and your necessities, and you moving forward. Even though you don't got nothing, you might still look like you doing better than them, because you moving forward, you progress, and they still where they at. And it just happens like that. So don't worry about the expectations of other people have on you. Keep expectations of yourself and continue to assess yourself. Make the proper adjustments and address those situations that you need. I call it the 3A system, the AAA system. Assess, adjust, and address. And you can do that all the while you out here, so that you can see where you at as far as the things you accomplished, things you might not accomplish, you might need more time about or more time to do. But one more thing. I was in jail so long, I don't care about holidays and all that. And I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I really didn't celebrate them, so it didn't matter. But I'm like Jay, I wish the best to everybody. This is a happy season for somebody. I mean, for a lot of people, but it's also sad seasons for people. So I always take that in consideration. I'm a happy guy. It's Christmas for me every day, because I'm home and I'm free and I got opportunity. But don't let anybody else's expectation or put pressure on you to give a gift or perform or pull a rabbit out your hat because you home now. Guess what? Your gift to them is you home. So if a person asks you, where my gift at? You say, hey, I'm right here.
Wait, here, look,
see it.
Look, Terrell.
This ain't enough for you. I don't know what to say.
Exactly.
I'm saying? Because guess what? If they ask you for a gift, you need to be asking them, wait a minute, I'm the one fresh out. Where's my gift?
Right. Exactly.
So spin that table. Don't let them put that pressure on you to go out there and spend your hard-earned money or whatever you can say to try to get yourself together to get them no gift. Damn Christmas. Because the next day is going to be the day after Christmas, and you're going to need your money still. Exactly. And then after that, New Year's going to come. You're going to need your money some more. So don't be like these fools and these buffooneries out here breaking themselves because they want to impress somebody else, or they have expectations on themselves that they let somebody pressure them on. So don't let nobody pressure you on any expectations that they want you to have. You move at your own pace.
That's awesome, Sauce. I really appreciate you. And there's several things that you said that I want to I want to piggyback on. When you come home, if the people are looking for you, they've been out all the time you've been away. They've been on the street, and they looking to you to help them come up. They not never gonna come up.
They wouldn't come.
They was that what which said they not come upable.
They weren't coming up in the first place.
They was the because
If I've been gone 10 years and you still in the same place,
slide up so they can see you.
if a person been gone 10 years and I come home and you in the same place you wasn't trying to come up in the first place.
Right.
That's just it.
And what you was doing, what your translation or you was waiting on me is that now you home and you could take care of me like
No,
you
you
used to
needed
take
help.
care of me
Yeah,
before.
you need help.
Right. It's never about I'm actually going to do anything myself. So that was one of the things, they need to be providing for you, if anything, right? And then another thing that you talked about was the prisons we create, right? You wanted to say something about that, Terrell?
Yeah, and not even if they can give you anything monetary or physically, some information, a resource. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We fresh out. We're looking for things that we need. So if people been out here and they trying to take from you or get from you, and you fresh out of jail, that's a caution flag right there for you. So pay attention to the people out here that's mooching. If they can mooch off you and you fresh out of jail doing 10, 20 years, then they ain't shit. Excuse my French, but they ain't shit.
And the thing of it is that the kind of person that's doing that, like you say, they're not even the person you want to surround yourself with. Because number one, they can't help you. Clearly, they can't help you because they haven't been able to help themselves in all of these years. So them looking towards you to help themselves be better, that's a drain on you. And the last thing you need coming home out of prison is another drain. Another where energy is leaving and parting with you. Okay, you need people that are feeding positive energy into you, not people who are draining and taking from you. Okay, so if they're still looking to you to help them get it together and they've been on the streets all this time, that's not a good thing. Mr. Kelly, I see, did you have something you wanted to say? Oh, okay, no problem. But then another thing that you said is you talked about the prisons that we create. So there are some people who never been in prison, but they have things that lock them up in their minds, things that lock them up. And these are things they choose. There are beliefs. If I tell myself I'm never going to amount to anything, that's a prison. I'm not going to it. It's a prison that I created for myself. Nobody did that but me. If I tell myself I'm not enough or I don't deserve to have good things, those are prisons I created for myself. And the only person who can let me out of those prisons is me. I'm the only one with the key to that. It doesn't matter how many positive people you hang around or whatever. If you truly believe any of those lies about yourself, that's what it's going to be. If you say you can't, you can't. If you say you can, you can. Either way, you're right. Okay. And it's very important to guard your thoughts, particularly when you need things to line up for you to move in a particular way. You got to make sure that you are thinking the thoughts that are going to get you where you want to go versus the ones that are going to put obstacles in your way. See, because a lot of times we put the obstacles in the way and then we blame everybody else.
Negative talk, negative thinking, negative actions.
Yeah, and it's all negativity, and we don't realize we're doing it to ourselves. And so those are the prisons in my book, Per People Highway. One of the chapters is called Love Incarcerated. And it's because of those things that we have signed up for in relationships. We have these toxic relationships and we sign up for it. And we don't walk away when we see the red flags, all the red flags, just like even in a friendship, Terrell, when you talk about somebody been out all this time, that's a red flag. Wait a minute, what you waiting on me for? But we go beyond that. Well, that's the homie from way back. You know what I'm saying? We grew up together. Well, guess what? You need to get away from them anyway. It doesn't matter, right? Some of those toxic relationships, we need to part ways with those things. But a lot of it we set ourselves up for because what we do is we want to impress people, which was another thing you said, or we want what our fantasy is. We want the fantasy of this relationship had the potential to be this. I didn't get along with my mom before I went to prison, but now that I can get along with now's an opportunity for me to do that. It may not be real. It may not be real. That may not ever happen. The damage might already be done. But it's important now not to focus on, well, if only I had been better, she would have been better to me. That's not necessarily true, because you got to start looking at how she treats everybody else too, right? So understand that these are the prisons we put ourselves in. Go ahead, Terrell.
And the thing about it is, you gotta think realistically and doable. You gotta make plans that are realistic and doable. You know what I mean? If you feel like it's a fantasy and it's way out there, and it's just make it simple. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple, and you'll be better off. But just don't allow nobody to put no expectations on yourself, because we have all the expectations on ourselves. We have all the pressure that we put on ourselves. So don't allow anybody else to put no expectation on you.
Exactly, because what happens is it's extra added pressure that you just don't need. There's enough of it already. There's plenty pressure to go around. I mean, there's just a lot going on. And so and then you also mentioned something in your comments too, Terrell, about these season. While this is happy time for a lot of people, it is a very depressing time. I know when I was teaching in CIW, the Christmas holidays in particular was very hard on the inmate population, particularly with a lot of them being mothers. And, as mothers, there's just this thing about being there for my kids at this time of the year and so on and so forth. So that was a lot of times, a lot of suicide attempts and actual successful suicides took place around this time of the year. And so I want to encourage everybody to reach out to your people, talk to them. I had Tony to come. Thankfully, I was blessed to have her come and speak at a gathering. And she was talking about the importance of family members supporting people who are incarcerated, because they a lot of times feel forgotten and left out. And this time of year, between Thanksgiving and now, it gets really intense. It gets really, really intense. We talked in the last couple of weeks about how people handle the holiday season. But that's one of the things where I would, anybody listening, if you have family members that are incarcerated, this time of year is really important that you reach out to them and let them know that they're not forgotten. If you're a caregiver and you have their children, let their children reach out. Just a handwritten note with a crayon on a napkin makes a huge difference for somebody, a big difference in how they do their time. Okay, so make sure that we are, again, this is for everybody that listens that may hear what's going on. I know a lady, she only did 5 years, but she did 5 years fed time, which meant that she was out of state. And what happened is she never, even the last time I talked to her, she could still be brought to tears thinking about the fact that in 5 years, she never had a single visit or a single piece of mail. Nobody wrote her, nobody came to visit her. And to this day, it is still something that causes her emotional pain. So if you have loved ones, even those of you that have come out and have friends that that are still there, send them a card. If the system allows you to do that, send them a card. Let them know that you're thinking about them during this time, because it is extremely difficult for people, because they feel left behind. They feel like nobody's paying attention to them. Okay. I'd be interested, because you've been home for a couple of years, Jose, any thoughts that you might have on the topic?
Yeah, on the beginning when I got out, I did have it put the expectations, like how you guys said, like I tried to jump into a job quick, and like I felt like it was gonna be easier to adjust, but it was harder than what I figured. Even right now, I got 2 years, and sometimes I feel like man, I've been like I feel like wasted 2 years because I'm still in a transition home, and I did squander off some opportunities I had. So I had when I got out, I got fortunate, and I had a good job. I was making good money, and I got complacent with how I was doing. I figured, oh man, that's easy. I can get another job like that. So I quit, and I decided, because I had some money saved up, and I decided to go and spend it with family, spend it on myself. And then I didn't work for like 3 months, so I went through my savings, and just like, you know, lucky enough, I bounced back from that. I'm not doing as great as I was, but I'm on the right path, because I'm trying to I'm trying to join a union now. So I'm using this job right now until I get into the union. But it's sometimes it seems like, when I talk to people, because right now, like, I'm making 19 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and 19 an hour when I was locked up, it felt like, oh man, that's a lot of money. But in reality, like, not in LA,
Not really, right?
not in LA.
That's right.
So when I was locked up and I heard, oh, minimum wage is $15 compared to 15 years ago when it was like 5, I figured, you know what, it's gonna be easy for me to adjust. It's $15, but I didn't realize how much food, housing, and all that went up. So you're really like, it feels like less than the $5 when I was before I got locked up. So the expectations, like, I had to push them down, because I figured that by 2 years out, I figured, okay, I'm gonna be in the union, I'm gonna have my own place, and I'm gonna have everything was gonna be situated, and it didn't work that way.
And let me tell you something. Is two things you said that I want to comment on. One is what you described as inflation, sweetie. That it still feel like that less than that $5 than from when you left all those years ago, right? So the inflation, everything, the cost of everything is so much higher now. But the other thing that you said, and so yeah, they're keeping everything at the same level. Like $15 an hour sounds good, but when you realize that the apartment that used to cost you $500 is now costing $2,500, right? Well, what did we really accomplish here? Right? What have we
Nothing.
learned? The ends still ain't meeting. They still not quite meeting, and some of them is further apart than they were before. But there's something else you said that's really, really important for people coming home, and that is to manage our own expectations of how fast things can happen when you come home. Because when people are incarcerated, again, you think, okay, I got a plan. Particularly people who make plans for when they get out of prison. They have this plan, they got it in their head, and this is how it's going to go. Well, things don't always go exactly according to plan. They don't always go exactly according to plan. No matter how hard you work at it, no matter how well you planned, things don't always work out. And the key is to be patient with yourself through the process. And I see you shaking your head, Ms. Ward. Please talk to the people. Oh, I did have the nerve to wait till you took a bite. I'm sorry. That's so funny. Oh, wait, and what's funny? Let me tell you something. When you first came on and Miss Di said, oh, she's not eating. Oh, that's good. And now here you are eating. Okay. Di was stunned. She said she was going to mark it on the calendar that you wasn't eating.
Girl, please.
She said, girl, please.
So listen, this is what I say to the women, in which what you guys are saying. They come home with these plans. I'm gonna get a job. This is the thing about that. You don't know the world. You don't know the type of time. You don't know if you're gonna have to catch the bus. You don't know if you're having to catch the train. How are you gonna get around? What kind of neighborhoods are you in, or anything? Is the education more important than the job? You have to figure that out. I don't know, like at our place, the women, they don't really pay that much. So that getting the job takes secondary for me. It's what you want to do with your life. And you have to figure that out by sitting still and saying, what does this world offer me? I've been gone 25 years. What's out here now that I can do? And where can I go to learn to do something that I can benefit from today? And it's the people just want to say, oh, I got to go make some money. But it's like Jose is saying, the money it's like prison money. It doesn't go far. It doesn't go far. And it's very imperative that you think about What am I going to do? And I always tell them that, think about what you're going to do with the rest of your life, because now you can do whatever you want with the rest of your life, but you don't even know what's out here to do yet. So you find out what you can do, right? And then you make plans like that. And that's just a little advice.
And the thing of it is I know I said this in a few weeks ago too, that look at this as an opportunity to remake yourself. While it's going to be challenging coming out of prison, this is an opportunity to make yourself whoever you want to be. It's a fresh start. It literally is an opportunity, even though your history doesn't divorce from who you are. But now you get the wisdom. You have the wisdom of those times, and you get to be who you want to be. You get to create your new life. Again, the person that went into prison is not the person that comes out. The person that comes out, you cannot be the person that lived inside of the prison. That's not even possible. That's a universe. It's a bubble all by itself. You can't even be that person if you wanted to. Why? Because the language, the hierarchy, the rules, they don't apply out here. Okay? They don't apply. Nobody cares if you was the HNIC in the prison. Nobody cares on the street.
Noodles don't pay like them.
Huh? What happened?
Noodles don't pay the like them.
Oh, you mean they don't take noodles at DWP?
No.
Try that one.
No.
Oh, they don't want the noodles, huh?
No.
Oh,
Peanut butter and jelly.
No.
Best friend now.
no, they don't take that at the
No.
bill place.
No.
Cheryl,
Hey, y'all gonna stop talking about
some
noodles.
bills,
I love noodles.
and they're not taking them to pay the bills.
No.
No.
Oh, damn. Okay, so now you got to figure something else you can barter, because barter still works. But usually the bill company, they want greenbacks, they want dollars.
The barter is you go to work, pay your taxes, figure out how you can manage paying rent, paying bills, and actually putting something in the refrigerator or on your cupboard. Because you ain't talking about the prices of food yet. And the next thing, what I always tell people, especially coming home, new guys, find out, date yourself and find out what you like. Your food preference is gonna change.
Oh, you need to come up. I think Cheryl was saying she can't hear you. Slide up.
She can't.
Sorry about that, Cheryl.
Your food preference is gonna change tremendously. The cost of food changes tremendously. And not just that, you have to manage in, how am I gonna get to work? How am I gonna get home? And then you sit up there and say, okay, I make $20 an hour, but you ain't count in that you don't have no dependents. So Uncle Sam takes a big portion of that $20 an hour.
He getting at least 3 off the top.
He get a big
3 or 4.
I found out, talking to a tax person, and this is food of advice. If you don't have dependents, you do yourself. You can count yourself as a dependent, and it's legal. I just found that out from a tax preparer, that you can. And the other thing is, I'll be finding these jewels and I'll be giving it to y'all. I want you to have it. Also, find out who you like Ms. Noreen said, you're creating a new portfolio. Find out what you want your portfolio to look like. Because everybody, your job, when they interview you, they go on Facebook. They're gonna pull up your Facebook and see what you got on your Facebook. They're gonna look at your messenger if it's public. They're gonna see who you are when you came home. And that 7-year, they can't go back 7 years.
Don't believe it.
I'm gonna show you the new loophole in getting a job. They look at the date you parole when you get off parole, not the date that you got sentenced on. The date that you parole, they got 7 years from there.
That's how they use it. That's how they use it.
I done had 3 attorneys I done talked to.
Remember, Lionel, you gave us the information on that. Remember, and in fact, I still got the paperwork in my bag. I carry it every week because I haven't had a chance to really research and find out what else was new. But this is new information. They use now the date that you parole or get off of parole.
Yeah, when the date you get off parole is the date that they use, and they have 7 years, up to 7 years from that, to utilize. It's not the date that we got sentenced, because they know that you have long-term offenders that's coming home that's, we got convicted, 95, 94, 90, 80 something.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to show up in their system.
Mm-hmm.
Our old driver's license, half of us don't even show up in the system. Mine wasn't there. I had to take a new test and all that. But what they're using is the date that you get off parole. I got off parole August 16, 2021. I got 7 years. They're still using it. MTA used it. Union Pacific used it. I work for a place called Parsec right now, dealing with trains. I'm a yard dog driver from 12 at night to 8:30 in the morning. They used it. Everybody used the date that you get off parole as your date of
how far back they can go.
Investigations. And they're using they got companies now that don't do nothing but investigate. That's their job, is to investigate you before you get hired on a job. So these things are the things that because I ask questions so I can bring it back. These are things that I have found out through HR, through the unions, and all of them saying the same thing. So it's not just one company doing it. This is the platform, because they knew the new law came in effect. They couldn't go back 7 years, past 7 years. So this was the loophole
to set
in the child safety laws that they put in. Anytime they have a law that says amendment, they can change up to 2/3 of that law to fit. Only 1/3 has to say the same, because you voted on that law. And if it's a child safety law, they can change up to 2/3 of the law, because it's under child safety law and children grow up. That's why they change it. The other thing you want to look at, what was it?
Senior moment. Okay, that's what happened when you get old. Okay, just so you know, that's what happened when you get old. Those thoughts come and go just that quick, but it'll come back. Trust me. See, I told you. Did I tell you we'll come back?
You want so y'all gonna pick on me?
We picking on you because Pike is here. Yeah, we got you. Okay, yeah. How about that?
But go out and treat yourself to one dinner by yourself.
Why so, James? Why, baby? Why, baby?
Because when you go with somebody, you still don't know what you like.
Oh, okay.
When you go with somebody else,
you start listening to their influence.
Right. You're not getting to know who you are in society. This is your marriage, your divorce from prison, and your marriage to society.
Oh, okay, got
your new portfolio, to who you are now. This is what I tell everybody that comes home. My treat was a $350 meal, because I treated me. I work hard for it, so I treated me. But what I'm saying is, it don't have to be that lavish. It can be anything, and try a multitude of different foods. And you'll find that your taste buds will trick you from time to time, but they're expanding. You're gonna think that you like this all these years, try something else. Try Mediterranean, try this, try that. I try different foods for a reason. As long as it don't have pork in it, I'm gonna try it. The other thing is, go for a walk. Take your shoes off. I cried, and I'm not afraid to say it. I cried when I went to the beach and took my socks and shoes off and walked in the water in some wet sand. Because prison, what we is. Sun up, sun down, boots on the ground. You know how it go. Prison was prison. This is your graduation to society. This is your introduction to society. Get rid of these expectations that family gonna be there, family gonna do this, family gonna do that. you're about to find out the real. The family don't have it like they've been telling you. Family can't afford you like they can afford little Juju and little Nunu. They can't afford you. You're a grown man. You have to afford yourself and change them eating habits, like thinking that you're gonna be eating these tomahawk steaks. And come on, man, let's think real. Let's
You
think
brought your thing. This is the first time you brought your computer, so.
And so,
be real.
and so I will say this, right? One of the things when was teaching in CIW again, and I was working, and also I taught it also in Norco too. And that is when people get ready to come home, I encourage them to start changing some of their habits. Like I encourage people to stop taking a bunch of naps and stuff like that. Don't take a nap at count time, because when you get out, you're going to be required to work a full 8-hour day. Okay. You need to be able to work that day but you're going to have to reprogram yourself. I also encourage people when they come home, the products that you used when you were incarcerated, find something else to use. Because you want to create a new thing. The only way I say to use the old products is if they made you feel good. If this was something, say there was a smell in prison that would make you happy, for whatever it could be, whatever reason, it gave you a good, well, okay, you can do that. But those things that were, particularly when you've been gone a long time, those products that you use, we've talked on here many times about the fact that you didn't have a lot of choices. When you go to the store, it's going to be overwhelming how many choices you have. Y'all had the Indigent toothpaste and Crest. That was it. Okay. Now you got Arm & Hammer and all these different things, and Paroxycare. You got a million different choices. So you got to focus your attention on what you want. But again, try something new. Try Paroxycare. Try Arm & Hammer. Try those things that you haven't been doing and you haven't been using, so that you can begin to expand. Y'all should have seen the face Roberta made. So that you can expand your universe, and you can figure out those things that you really like. Like James was saying, you begin to learn who you are now that you're this person coming home. Okay, Lionel, talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking. Lionel, are you there, Lionel? Can you hear me?
Look like he froze. You good?
I don't know. Look, 1 second it seemed like he's.
It looked like it was froze.
And then the next second not. Okay, how about you, Miss Tony? Talk to me. What you thinking?
I think for the gentleman that was talking earlier about, squandering off his savings and other things, I would tell him that he needs to have some grace for himself. We've talked on numerous sessions about having grace for yourself and grace for others. And I think that he needs to have some grace, because he needs to see the upside and not focus on the downside. Okay, so you squandered away that money. You bought yourself some things, you bought family some things, you went into a moment of temporary happiness, which is, some of the things that people do out on the streets. And so you're out, you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself, get your card, do your and get your union card, and get back maybe some of the money that you lost. But don't even worry about it. It was, for me, it's money well spent, because you had that opportunity to do it. Maybe it wasn't the best choice, but the fact that you had a choice, you have to learn to give yourself some grace for it. And just in listening to him, he knows better, and now he has the opportunity to do better.
Yeah. And, thank you, Tony, for that. Because, if you go away at such a young age, first of all, you never even had any real adult experience in been responsible for bills and how to manage money and what everything was going to cost, and heavens knows they didn't teach you that in the pen, right? They certainly wasn't giving you no financial literacy classes on how to budget and do all that. I mean, some of them are now starting to do that, but that not when you went in, they weren't doing that. So you know, that's, thank you, Tony, again for that, because we do, it's the one thing I say, be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. And this is part of being patient with yourself and giving yourself grace and mercy, which it sounds like you understand at some level. But I'm sure Tony just wanted to reiterate that for you, that whatever it was well spent. And I say, you were a child when you got incarcerated. You was a kid. What the heck did you know about the cost of money or what things cost and you didn't know nothing about none of that, right? So now you get an opportunity to learn those things. And you're so right, Tony. It's like, now you get to reinvent yourself. It doesn't matter. Ben is an older person coming home. Ben gets to reinvent himself if he likes to. Whatever that is, we all get an opportunity. When people come home, it's an opportunity to be and put in motion, even if there were dreams you had as a kid and you got derailed from those dreams, you can go back and put those things in motion now. That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Dreams deferred.
Yes, dreams deferred.
Dream deferred. Yeah, you know, and it's that person that keeps me in check. You know, what was I doing at 16? You know, I was pissed off because I was running to the county jail, running to Biscaloo, running to Civil Brand, going to pick up this cousin, going to drop money on this person's books, and, you know, seemingly in my head, living too much like an adult. But I have grace because knowing that someone else at my age was in prison. So, you know, give yourself some grace because you've come a long way and you still got a long road ahead of you. And, you know, just take that into consideration and know that you just learn from it.
And that's really great because you're still young. You know what I'm saying? You're still fairly young and you got some time, you know, you got good health and stuff like that to move forward. And that's a blessing. Mr. Bradley, are you unfrozen now? Can you give us your thoughts? Uh-oh. Nope. It's you still muffled, sweetie. No, we really can't. We really can't. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let Scott weigh in really quick, and then you could come back and see. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead and tell us what you're thinking.
From my own experience, I mean, I've only been out 6 months, but from the very beginning, I went into this knowing that I'm gonna make mistakes. You know, financially, the job I got, I know it's not going to be my last job. It's just the first job to get put on a resume. But I made myself allowances, allow myself to make mistakes. And it's a learning curve. I've been locked up since I was 21 and now I'm 56. You know, so I missed all of that. But at the same time, I'm allowing myself a little bit of space to sometimes act like a kid. It's like if I'm going to the store and, you know, all of a sudden I'll buy some big ass bag of candy and smack the whole thing, and people look at me, it's like, what? I haven't done that in 35 years. I'm going to do that, you know? But some of the things that I missed out, you know, I'm not trying to relive everything, but little glimpses here and there that I'll try and pull into my life and experience that. But one of the things I've learned, a couple things, is that I have no preferences. I don't know what I like and what I don't like. So I try to be open for everything. You know, it's like my girlfriend asked me, goes, well, do you like these? I don't know. Well, how do you like this cook? I don't know. You know, there's a whole lot of I don't know and no preferences.
Wait, you go
Something else too.
I don't know.
Yeah. Something else too that we were talking about earlier. You were talking about expectations and stuff like that. One of the things that we have to be very careful of is the fact that because of where we've been for so long and we've been like the black sheep of our families, the fuck ups and everything else, excuse my language, but when we come out, they still expect us to be that same person and they have this low expectation. And sometimes you have family members or friends or people in your lives, they expect you to fail. And too many times we live up to those expectations because there's nobody placing something, that bar up here. It's way down here. And we're like, well, they don't expect me to succeed. Why should I? They expect me to fail. Maybe there's some truth to that. Especially if they're family members or friends, it's always been influential in your life.
Mhm.
So next thing you know, it's called, uh, the self-fulfilling prophecy. You
Yep.
know, they
Yeah,
see that
because
in our
those
lives.
same
We begin to
people,
see that in our lives. And next
those
thing you
same
know, we
people
start
fed
living that
into
into our lives.
they fed into your false belief system about yourself. Those people that
Yeah.
influenced you, and then so, well, we don't expect nothing to him. Ah, he's gonna whatever, and you began to believe that, and like you said, it became self-fulfilling prophecy, one right on top of the other.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
No
Somebody got
problem.
their hand up. Who is that? Is that Miss Cheryl? Let me just say,
Cheryl Ward.
but you can ready, you can ready stay in one location. I'm just saying, you done been in three different you done been in three different places all this time. You done had your dinner and all this all on our time. You gonna stay in one location. What you got to say, girl?
I have to say that the expectation and what Mr. Kelly is saying is that happens too. The expectation of the family is that you are exactly the same person you were when you went in prison. So all they're doing is waiting for you to F up and go back to prison. And they don't really support people enough. They don't have faith in the people. It takes, and I tell people, you stay home for 2-3 years, then they'll believe that you're different
Well,
because
let me tell you,
they're thinking,
let me tell you as the loved one. Okay. I'm the person on the outside. I'm the one that did the visits, put the money on the books, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let me tell you what it is. It's fear. We operate from a place of fear that you're going to leave us again. It is fear. It isn't even necessarily, I see your hand back there. It isn't even necessarily that we don't believe in you, but we have been traumatized. Usually you were here, you left the house, and you just didn't come back for however many years or decades or whatever it was that you was gone. So there's this, even if we don't understand it, because I've been in this group and we've been able to talk about it and it's kind of been exposed to me, I understand we all were experiencing fear that you might go back or that it might happen again. And in somebody like Tony's case, where there were so many family members, so many family members that were constantly in and out, and as a teenager and a young girl having to support all of those people, I can remember in your conversation many times, Tony, talking about how you were just waiting. You were expecting family members, your mom and people to go back. You were just waiting on that. But it wasn't that you didn't believe in it. It's just that this is what you had grown to expect from them. And there's that fear. So there's a fear that you guys might go back because we don't have any control over it. We didn't have any control over when you left the last time. And so,
Well, I think also society,
yes,
society conditions you to believe that. Society doesn't do any type of positive reinforcement. Society creates all of this recidivism, and so you are the rage against the machine in trying to build that positive support to those loved ones that you have, because society has done a shitty job of this whole process per se. So for me, it's like bucking the system and having the support. Again, looking at my mom, people are they praise her and, oh, she's this wonderful woman and she's moving mountains. And, I still hold steadfast to the fact that, well, shit, if she could do it now, she could have done it then. So, all was not lost. And so I think that is a very big thing for me, is that it's not just what we're feeling. Society is telling us to feel that way. Society's conditioning us to feel that way.
yes.
And so we harm one another.
Yes,
we harm one another with what we're being fed. But, as I said in a long time ago, I stopped eating that shit. It's about, figuring out what your diet is in this process.
Yes, because they want us to believe, they want us to write the person incarcerated off. They want us to believe erroneously that this person is not redeemable. They want us to believe that because they did something that got them incarcerated, that somehow now there's no way that they're ever going to be any different than that. That's the truth. Terrell, but James, did you still want to say something, or did you?
It's a trip because
I don't know if they're gonna be able to hear you.
it's a trip because a lot of my family lost a bet. You know, I had family members that was betting on how long I was gonna stay out when I first got out. And then I had family that was betting on when I was gonna get killed after I got out. You know, so all of them have lost. And then the ones that I actually talked to, I don't know, nor remember, it was 8 of us cousins that was locked up and all of us had life sentences. So our visitation was going from prison to prison and seeing a different cousin, you know. But the thing about it is this, the self-prophecy that the gentleman was talking about, I kind of fed into it for a minute and seen I was going the wrong way. And this group helped me divert. You know what I mean? It brought reality into focus. And you guys, and I'm gonna tell y'all, utilize this group because this is something that's dear to me and it should be dear to you because it's gonna help you. Remember how they told you on the inside, the only way you can make a change is if you work the program? You have to work it. It has to be a part of your daily life to think about your life and how you want to do your portfolio. Nobody's expectation should dictate your program.
Thank you. And so, Cheryl, I see your hand up.
So when Tony was saying like the societal part of it, so that's one of the when I talk about Susan when I go places, and I always like this part of it when they used to tell her, "See you when you get back, Burton," and she would say, "I'm never coming back," but she'd always end up going back. So when she got ready to go to Africa last year she spent 2 months, and I said, "Hey, Burton, see you when you get back." I said, "I wish we can say to them, yeah, I'm going to Africa now to do whatever," because their expectation of us is, yeah, you just you gonna come back because that's what you are, is a criminal. And their whole belief is that we are there to be punished, and they'll tell you that. I did Fed time, and they sure tell you that you here for punishment now. That's what you're doing, being punished. And they have stupid beliefs about us, like really, really dumb beliefs.
Well, one of the things in terms of beliefs that society has, which I have found to be the exact opposite, is they think that because people are incarcerated, they're dumb or they're stupid. That is like the most intelligent, ingenious, resourceful. I have met talented people I have met in prisons. And one of the things I realized is that the system, if they could get their hands on one that they thought was intelligent and a leader and had the potential to be something, they gave them longer time than the knucklehead that they knew was coming back time after time after time. Okay, because they want to keep them longer. Why? Because incarceration is the only legal enslavement. What do? They get to utilize your skills for free. Whatever that money was they was paying, 25 cents. Look, a job for 70 cents an hour in the prison is a good paying job. $1 an hour is good. You know, that's top of the line. You see what I'm saying? So they want legal labor. They want labor that's cheap, and you lose all of your rights. You become property of the state and legally able to be enslaved. And let me tell you something, speaking of which, I saw an article, I was talking to, so the guy who killed George Floyd, got stabbed in prison 22 times. And there was an article. And so I was commenting on the article because a guy was saying, well, were his civil rights violated? I was like, of course they were. That's what happens when you go into prison. You lose your rights, you become property of the state and legally enslaved. Duh, yeah, his rights were violated, but do I believe that that means that in order to pay his debt to society for killing George Floyd, that he should be subjected to having to be killed? No, I don't agree with that. I feel like the state, they will tell you they spend $70-some thousand a year to house an inmate, and they only spending $12,000 a year on a kid to educate him in elementary school. So no, I don't want you spending my 72 grand or whatever it is y'all telling me on an inmate, but y'all can't even protect him long enough to be alive. No, I want him to live and do his time. Okay, yeah, he owe a debt to society for killing any, but whatever. And people often are not, don't have a problem paying the debt when they realize, you know what, I did something wrong, right? I did something and I got to pay for that. Okay, fine. Once they resign themselves to that, they get past that. But that doesn't mean that they should be subject to being killed. But like I told them, I said, but that is what the system is. So if you're telling me the next time you hear them saying they need prison reform, instead of you saying, well, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. You're not in there to be, this ain't a country club. You in there as punishment for a crime. Yeah, okay. But now you think it's okay as long as somebody else is being subjected to it. When it's somebody you don't think deserves it, now all of a sudden you in an outrage. Some of the people from January 6th, oh, the conditions in prison are horrible. Duh. They've been horrible. But when we were saying it was horrible, you told us don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Well, motherfucker, guess what? Don't do the crime, Mr. Chauvin, if you can't do the time. Okay? And I'm saying I don't agree with the system like that. I don't agree that it should be set up like that. But I know it is what it is. Mr. Kelly, did you intend to have your hand up?
Where's Cat at?
Touche, Noreen.
Did you
That
say?
was good.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
No, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, just a little bit earlier before you went on that, but was the fact that when we talk about the expectations of society and everything else and what they think of us, just like you said, they think we come out, we're stupid, we're ignorant. A lot of times they think that we were born this way. There's no way we can change. Rehabilitation is impossible.
They don't take
fake.
no responsibility for how you got there.
Right. And unfortunately, there are some people who go out there and they live up to that standard and they make the rest of us look bad. But, when we come out, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. When I first came out, I felt it because of everything and the way we were treated inside by staff and by, the cops and by free staff was the fact that, we're second-class citizens. And when I got out, I felt inferior to everybody. And it's taken me 6 months to realize I'm not inferior to anybody. In fact, I got my shit together more than most people out here. But it takes a while to realize that.
And look, and if you realize it in 6 months, baby, you way ahead of the game. Because it takes some people years and years. In fact, I spoke to a person recently, and they've been out about 7 years, and they're still having difficulty with that concept. That they're still not a second-class citizen, and that they should literally just be thankful for whatever they get and whatever's dished out to them. I don't agree with that. That is not the situation. So you're right. Society teaches that, they perpetuate it. And the psychological is the one thing I've always said that I didn't like about the prison system. And that is the unnecessary psychological warfare. It's one thing, first of all, losing your freedom, having to live in the conditions that you have to live in the prison is bad enough. That is plenty punishment. Trust me. For anybody out here listening who doesn't know, that's plenty punishment. Not being away from your family, not raising your kids, knowing that things could happen to them and all of that, and there's nothing you could do about it, or not even being able to have children. Okay, all those things, that's plenty punishment, right? But the unnecessary psychological warfare, going into an inmate cell and taking their family pictures and tearing them up just because you can, or throwing their stuff away, taking their favorite books and throwing them out. All of that stuff is unnecessary psychological warfare that does damage that shouldn't necessarily be done. And it's not required to have somebody pay their debt for a crime that they committed. And yes, they want you, but when you've been in it for so long, they didn't just throw it on you today. They got you to believe this over time. And now it's going to take time to undo that faulty thinking that they have gotten you accustomed to doing. So that makes a difference. I see your hand, Terrell.
No, I just wanted to just revert back to what Tony was saying. It's a lot of people out here that's still stuck. You know, they still stuck and they still upset about whatever, however. But they got to get over it. That's on them. So don't allow anybody's feelings or what they feeling about you in the past affect you and your happiness of being free. Because, I mean, I could be a bitter ass dude because I know I feel like I was left for dead 2 times, not once, but 2 times. But nobody was obligated to send me a red cent when I was in prison because I went to jail. So I took that responsibility and I took accountability for my actions and being where I was at. And then coming home a couple of times, it just showed me that some people are bitter about they not having and not being on the right, doing the right things or not having their shit together. And then you come home and you just look better than them and they feel like you're doing better. You know what I mean? So don't allow anybody's sorrow or negative or angry aspect of themselves for whatever reason absorb into you. Stay happy, stay free, do what the hell you want to do for you, and keep self-care and self-love first. Always keep that first, because it's just like we was in that cell, bro. We had to do that time. You know, I love my folks and all of that, love my moms, my family and all that. But guess what? It's about me right now. Because guess what? When I was gone, them 18, 19 Christmases and all that other stuff, when you don't get cards and birthday cards and no money, you got to hustle and make a living on your own and survive. Just resort back to that thinking and that understanding that you don't owe anybody anything. And you don't have to make anybody happy.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
The only people, I'm going to say this, the only people that you owe something to is your children that you left. You do owe them because you left them in abandonment. You didn't say, come lock me up, but you did go away. And that child had to be reared up without you. So you are obligated to, you know, have accountability for that child. You know what I'm saying? At least a conversation, if nothing else. That child is grown and don't want you in their life or whatever, or grown and bitter and mad at you. It's your obligation to talk to your child, whether they're a teenager, adult, young adult, or adult, because you left them here and they have a sense of abandonment that they feel that you need to address. Not saying it's gonna make everything better, but that's your only thing that you could do is address the situation. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, don't let nobody out here tell your confidence and your coming home and happiness. Don't let them tear it down. Don't let them tear it down. Stay on your square.
Mr. Bradley, looks like you're live in the game, so I can get your comments.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I don't give a damn about what society thinks. That's the problem. People always worry about what society. As long as I'm happy, I'm cool. But like Terrell was saying, as far as the kids, yes, when we've been gone, they've been traumatized because we wasn't there for them. So they going through things, and, you know, that's who I look forward to, is nursing them, you know. But as far as society go, hey, I don't give a damn what they think and how they think. As long as I'm not hurting nobody, hey, screw society. That's what's wrong with people today, because they always worry about what the next person think of them. Screw them. There are a lot of people I know got out of prison intelligent because they grow, they think. They had to learn how to survive. They look at life differently. So most people I know that got out of prison got their shit together. A lot of them got their shit, as far as more educated and more knowledgeable and more wisdom to deal with society and life. And so it's like I say, screw what society think. You know, live your life the way you happy. As long as you ain't hurt nobody, screw them.
Wonderful, thank you. And so, Chester, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Any thoughts you have at this point? We run it getting close up on time. I just want to make sure anybody has any last comments, has an opportunity to say what they want to say.
Yes, I think that we have to continue to believe in ourselves, stay patient, be persistent, and make choices that we're happy with. Because like you said, people are going to try to condemn us. So we don't have to feed into that. Just believe in ourselves. Like Terrell said, we don't owe nobody nothing. This drive for us. We the one did the time. We had to take accountability for what we did. We overcame that. So we have to live to be a better person and stay pushing in society, period. Just have discipline. Be patient, and just drive for it. And that's what I believe about. I make choices that help me, and I stay surrounded with positive people. And people that don't believe in what I do, I don't be around them. Just that simple. So
it's that simple. I just don't have to hang around you. Even if you are blood, I can love you from across the street.
There it is. There.
Over there, I don't have to engage with you every day just because you blood and let you make me discouraged or none of that kind of stuff. I don't have to do none of that. It doesn't change the love that I have for you, but I don't have to allow you to make me feel different or less than about myself. So I want to give the folks in the room opportunity. Comments from you, darling, for the evening.
Oh, tonight I enjoyed the conversation about you guys about everything.
Can't hear you.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I enjoyed the conversation tonight. Thank you.
Her not feel so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Any comments on the conversation?
Glad to get a lot of things
Can't hear him.
Okay. So he was saying he learned a lot. He was glad to be here. He learned a lot from what we were saying, and he was glad to be here. Okay, sir.
Ditto to everyone. You all have valid points. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Darling.
I just want to say melodies from heaven rain down on me.
Okay, so look, we got a concert going on and all kinds of stuff up in here. Y'all never know what's gonna happen at Free to Hit, baby. Y'all just don't know. Jose, any last words from you, sweetie? Since this is your first time with us.
That was a good meeting. Thanks for having me. And
wonderful, Miss Ward.
Thank you so much for the topic. It was nice. It's always a lot to talk about because it's always a lot to think about, even when you've been home for 10 years.
Yeah, Miss Tony.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great topic. Appreciate the conversation and all of the thoughts, and happy to see the gentlemen and women prospering and having such positive outlook. I really love it.
I'm so excited. Tomorrow will be my first day back in CRC. Doing anger management tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. It's been some years since I've been in there teaching, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just want to thank all of you guys for your contributions to Free to Heal. It's nothing without you guys. We come together every week so that we can heal, so that we can learn and be better for ourselves first, for our loved ones, and for our families and communities. And so I just say, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things, social media. And we'll see you next week on another week of Free to Heal. Good night. Good night, everybody. See y'all later.